Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Bobby Mills, Independent Sports Talk once again. I'm Bobby Mills, of course. Jim Langham, Tino Martinez. We're going to go over classes C1 and C2. C1 ought to be fun, man. It is wide open. I think it is anyway. The top of the bracket, number 1, Wahoo Newman, fresh off a loss to crosstown rival Wahoo. I think it's crosstown. I mean, like Elkhorn and Elkhorn South are next to each other, but at any rate. They've drawn Syracuse, who sneaks in at the last minute with a victory over Nebraska City. Anybody going to go with the Syracuse boys tonight?
No, there's no way I'm going with Syracuse.
I don't even know I'd go there was a Syracuse Orangeman.
That's what I was going to say, Syracuse Orange.
I'm going with Bishop Newman.
Bishop Newman, pretty good at Centennial Conference power. And then right below them, of course, is an 8-9 matchup. Ogallala is going to go down to Imperial and play Chase County, and I think these two teams met earlier, and Chase won 31-14, something like that. I'm going to go with Ogallala. I think there's something wrong. I think somebody's hurt for Chase. I'm not sure who's hurt for Chase. I might be wrong, but I think somebody's hurt for that football team.
Well,
Hope it isn't the running back because
I have no idea
Yeah.
on that game. I'm just going to take Chase County, but if their best player's out, I'm unaware of them. Yeah.
I'm not sure. Tino, what do you
Well, I don't have a lot of knowledge on either
Yeah.
team, but Scott Rezak's there as the AD, and
Boy's the quarterback, Tino.
Boy's the
Yeah.
quarterback, and so I'm gonna root for Coach Rezak and his son, and take Ogallala.
And Newman took a trip out there last year, and had a heck of a time winning that game at Ogallala. Of course, they weren't as good as this year. Right below that, Columbus SCOTUS defending champion number 12 goes to Kearney to take on Kearney Catholic, who nobody wants the first round. They're the number 5 seed. I just don't know. I think Kearney Catholic's got a great football team.
I do too. I think
Man, undefeated in the state. They lost to somebody down in Kansas who had a
Yeah.
great football team and a quarterback like the Missouri kid up at Boone Central. But anybody thinks SCOTUS can get Kearney Catholic?
what scares you about SCOTUS is what it says on their shirts.
Yep.
SCOTUS,
Yep.
the tradition.
Right.
Now, I got news for you. I'm not scared of Michigan State this year.
No,
I'm not scared of Oregon anymore. I'm not scared of Texas.
but SCOTUS, yeah.
SCOTUS, for some reason, are a little scared of it, but I do think that. I think Kearney Catholic has proven
Yeah.
that they can beat people. And SCOTUS has proven that they can lose to people.
Right. Yeah, Oregon gets a win
You
over them late.
That's right. So they can, SCOTUS has proven that they can get beat too.
Yeah.
But SCOTUS had a really good schedule.
Yeah.
And so the people, I'll tell you what I'm afraid of, is all the people they lost to. That team in Kansas, I don't want to play them,
Right.
and I don't want to play anybody. And I'll tell you what, Ord had a really good football team this year, and it's too bad they're not in the playoffs.
Yeah, I know.
They had a really tough schedule. That district was tough,
All right.
and they had a nice football team. Caught some tough breaks in the game I officiated there. Very good sports. Never blamed us at all for the game. I really appreciate that. I'm too bad Ord's not in. wish
Yeah,
they were
I
in.
agree. I mean, I enjoyed watching them play. They're not overly sized, but boy, their kids just get up there and smack. But I agree. It's too bad they didn't get in. And Kearney Catholic can score points so fast that I think their short passing game and their deep threats are something maybe SCOTUS hasn't had to go up against. The one thing I'd worry about with Kearney Catholic is SCOTUS can really get the ball running downhill
Yeah.
and in between the tackles, and so if they get that going and start knocking off chunks of yards and time on the clock, that's going to come down to the wire. But I think it's going to be a great game for people to watch. I think it's a toss-up.
Great point. I think one thing you said too that's really important. That's how Sutton plays when they upset people.
Yeah.
When you play Sutton, you're going, well, I mean, you know what? We scored both times we got the ball
Yeah.
the first half. But we got 14, but they got 14 too. We only got the ball twice.
28 plays to our 9.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Keep the ball out of their hands for those long drives, whatever you do. And then, unfortunately, number 13, Gothenburg, well, listen, they're not unfortunate. They're in the playoffs. They take a trip to Wahoo, who just shut out Newman 21-0 a week ago. Well, I don't think there's any letdown for Wahoo either. They do rely on the big play, but man, that defensive line and that middle linebacker that plays with that club on his arm because he's got a broken wrist and a broken finger or something. That's a good football team, man.
Both those programs, both Wahoo and Gothenburg, have played in the state championships for basketball, football.
Yep.
They've had a lot of good. This is not a surprise that Gothenburg's in
No,
the playoffs.
no.
This is not a surprise. I'm surprised they're the 13th seed. But what happened? They had a tough schedule too. But I just think Wahoo, with playing Wahoo Newman and that win itself, is going to be really hard for me to predict anybody other than maybe Wahoo.
Yeah, definitely. And then
You know.
who got Wahoo this year? Was it Aquinas that got them?
Yeah, I think,
So
yeah.
they finish 8-1 and beat Newman and lose to Aquinas. I'd
Which
say
we-
they're fairly proven, but Gothenburg's got some great athletes. Dawson Graham at the quarterback, I think,
Yep.
is really an exciting player to watch. But I got to go with Wahoo on this one, maybe even by double digits.
Well, we'll see, but, congratulations for Gothenburg to get in. So now we go to the other side of the bracket with number 14 Lakeview. I think they're taking Ord's place, basically, right? I don't know.
The winner of that game got in, yeah.
Yeah, and then they go to one of my favorite teams, O'Neill, number 3. They're having a fairy tale season up there. And I think they can compete with some of the top boys, but I'll have to go with O'Neill on this one.
O'Neill's undefeated, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like Lakeview. I've refereed
Oh,
them 3 times.
great
I like
coach.
the way they play. The thing of it is they show that they could struggle. GICC gave them all they wanted that night.
Yeah.
And I just think O'Neill is the type of team that if you show any type of vulnerability at all, O'Neill can take advantage of that. And so I think O'Neill might be the real deal. And I'm basing that on what you said earlier in the season, way back in September. You said O'Neill High School is one of the best football teams around. Isn't that right?
Well,
Yeah.
I saw in week 1, and I know it's week 1, and Central Catholic was in a new system, and they were still learning some stuff about their parts. But O'Neill was the best team I saw in person all year, and I saw Aquinas, I saw Scotus. So I mean, I saw them week 1, but they were dominant. Their front line, they're on offense and defense. They initiate every contact on every play.
Yep.
Their quarterback, and they got some receivers, the running back. I was really impressed. I think they're very well coached. I'm not going to go out on a limb and predict that they're going to win the state title, but they're the best team I saw in person this year.
And they told me they played badly that night. They said that we really, so a little scary about those Eagles. So the O'Neill will have to play the winner of this next game. 11th seed Norfolk Catholic and number 6 seed Aquinas. I think you made a comment maybe about this football game earlier this week, did you? About Duggan Daddy's team.
Yeah, the Norfolk Catholic.
Unbelievable
I said,
match.
they are the best double-digit seed, maybe in the history of high school football in Nebraska.
I just can't
It
believe
doesn't mean they're going to win it, but they've lost 3 games to people that are in the top 4, I believe,
Right.
seeded. And if they'd have just snuck in 1 win, I mean, they lost by a point, they lost by 3, they lost. And if they would have won one of the games, they'd been a top 9 seed.
Right.
And so, that's what's interesting about it is they lost all 3 games, and then they just dominate their other 3 games.
Right.
So that's why they're the best team ever, and that's got a double-digit seed. Doesn't mean they're going to win, but they are the best team that's ever been in Class C1 that has been seeded 10 through 16.
Right.
I guarantee, I will never back away from that statement, even if they lose.
What do you think, Tino? I think if all the teams Ronnie Mimic could have drawn or faced all the way through the playoffs, this might be the toughest. And I'm talking Newman or Wahoo.
Well,
this is a tough matchup.
No, it's a
man.
great first-round game. I mean, it's a shame it's taking place in the first. But my question is, I agree with Jimmy 100%. Norfolk Catholic has got to be the best team to ever have that seed. But how is Aquinas a 6th seed?
I don't. Well, that I can't. I don't know.
That's the other part I don't get in this matchup. But yeah, I definitely think I listened to your show on the radio today, Jimmy, and I kind of agree with Bob. The winner of this game could win the whole thing. You just I think they're both that good, and so but home field advantage again, I think would be the only reason I'd pick Aquinas in this matchup.
And if Aquinas isn't doing something right in the first half, Ron Mimic's going to figure out a way to beat you at halftime. I've heard 2 fire and brimstone speeches.
But the other thing about that, Matt, I mean, how about the 2 head coaches in this thing? They've hoisted the trophy a few times in their careers.
677 wins between them and 15 crowns or 15 state final
What did you say,
appearances.
677?
677 between Jeff and Ron.
I'm trying to add up mine. I had 20. I had 20 wins as a head football
But if
coach.
you would have been coaching,
I refereed 2 of them.
Thank God you were there, it'd have been 18.
that's right. Hey, number 10, Fairbury goes against number 7, Boys Town at the Corral. I like this Fairbury team. It's been so long since they've been in the playoffs, it seems like, and I think they've only been there 5 times in history.
Oh, really? Well, I didn't know
And
that.
I think that's a great thing. They've got a great football team. Can they beat that speed of Boys Town? I think they've got a shot. It's another 7-10 matchup. Like you said, anything can happen, but
I'm going to say this before you start.
Uh-oh.
My only predict: if all those kids are there on Friday, I think Boys Town Cowboys win.
Well, that's a pretty safe state. I don't know that they've seen that kind of speed yet.
Yeah, and you know, that's what's interesting. Usually, I don't know the specifics of Boys Town and how that works out, but I do know that a lot of times, you know, they don't try to make a change with their personnel in Boys Town during
Yeah,
that
that's what I'm
week.
saying, if they get
Yeah.
transferred in.
Oh,
or transferred
yeah, you
out,
never know.
Yeah, you just don't know
who
you
got.
just don't know who's gonna come and play, yeah. And we've talked to the Boys Town, I've talked to the Boys Town basketball coach. I try to talk to the Boys Town basketball coach, what's his name, help me out?
Tom
Tom
Kriebel.
Kriebel.
Yeah, when he's not coaching.
Is there any way you can talk to him before the basketball season and tell him to transfer Teddy Allen out there?
But I was gonna say, I tried to talk to him, not during those 32 minutes, 'cause he's a great guy.
Yeah.
But during those 32
He's a
minutes, when I
handful.
organize game, it's not much fun. But anyway, I'll just say, but he's made that comment before. He goes, hey, you know, gee, you'd be surprised from one week to the next, you know, who I have and what I have to do. And then not only that, he said, I'll get somebody to transfer in, didn't know he could play, and he can play.
Yeah, well,
And, you know,
there's been years where we've scouted them in basketball to get ready for the conference tournament, and we're there in late December or early January, we're scouting, and come time to the conference tournament, the roster's so different. So, they are a hard team to prepare for that reason, but I just think their athleticism and speed is gonna get to them.
And it can go the other way too. Like Coach Kriebel said, I have no problem suspending anybody here if they do something naughty because I have no parents to answer to. So it can go the other way on Boys Town too. So they might be less, you know, you never know. They could
Right.
have players added or players missing, but
we could have a whole conversation just about Boys Town.
Oh, you
Yeah,
could.
honestly, we should.
And the old Omaha Flanagan.
Yeah.
Well, I one time I could try to get scouting reports, and because we go to state tournament, that's a whole different story. Let's move
Flanagan,
on.
yeah, the old
Jeff Riley
Flanagan.
scores 51 points at Central Catholic one night.
And loses?
Omaha Flanagan rolls in 4 minutes before tip-off.
Is that right?
Anyway, you're right, that's a different show.
Yeah, there you go. That was interesting that night, yeah. No, we don't need warm-ups. Number 15, Omaha Concordia, 5-3, first time they've ever made the playoffs, first winning season for the young school. They go against number 2 Arlington, number 2 seed, I should say. These two teams, how can this happen in Class C when they just met last Friday?
How bad did Arlington win?
20-8.
Right. See that?
Concordia's a lot better team than you think, but
And
how can that?
remind me of Omaha, or not Omaha Concordia, but Arlington's schedule. I'm not sure they've been as tested as some of the others.
No, they have, you know, it's not been as, like some of the others, like the Newmans and the Catholics.
Yeah, you
but-
just wonder, would they be a 2 seed if they had those schedules?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm going to take Arlington.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Arlington.
Well, I'm gonna take their opponent.
You're going to take Concordia,
Yeah.
their opponent.
Centennial Conference team there.
Yeah,
We'll
there you
take
go.
Omaha
I like their uniforms, yeah. So we're gonna go to Class C2, we've got C1 down, perfect. Top of the, oh my goodness, top of the bracket, number 16 UTAN, number 16, plays number 1 Centennial. Centennial wins the opener 14-12. And UTAN is a good football team.
Is that a rematch?
It's a rematch. Good football team. But I don't know about this one. Centennial could lose this game. I mean, they're
I'm
not.
gonna pick UTAN.
They are a good defensive team. You just don't score many points on UTAN. I'll
Yeah.
guarantee you.
I think UTAN played St. Cecilia last year in C2, and they competed well. They got beat, but they did,
I remember that, yeah.
they did score on them in the first half and competed well. And but you know, I'm just since it says a 16 beside their name.
Well, I know.
That's 16.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you pick them, and if you win the contest, hats off to you. But I'll take the 1 seed.
I'm going UTAN.
Well,
You go UTAN.
I'll
Go
go
UTAN.
UTAN.
There you go.
I have nothing against the Broncos,
Good
but I'll
deal.
go UTAN because I think it's a good football team. And then the winner meets the winner of St. Paul, number 9, who goes out to Hershey to play Ryan Smith's team. What do you think about that matchup? That is a great matchup. What about St. Paul?
I think you should tip the hat. Rusty Fuller up there, son of Bob Fuller. Coach of Central Catholic.
Yeah.
I think he's done a tremendous job of reinvigorating that football program. They went 3 or 4 years. They would only win 3 games
I
total.
know,
So
yeah.
I've heard great things about him. The kids up there love him. They've definitely bought into his system. I think St. Paul gets this one and plays in the second round for the first time in a long time.
How do you beat Central City 35-0?
Nobody beat Central City 35.
I mean, I couldn't
Nobody.
believe it.
When
I know
heard
they're
it, I thought
banged
it was
up.
a joke. There's got to be a lie.
I thought it was a
This is a
misprint.
mistake. It's got to be something. And St. Paul does that. I think, did that open the eyes to everybody? St. Paul, great job. And I'll tell you what, Central City, good season 2, and we're going to be talking about you later on here. And I'll tell you what happened was, St. Paul got things started and then things started rolling.
Yeah.
And sometimes that happens in high school football. Central City's way better than a 35-0 loss.
Oh,
And
gosh.
St. Paul, though, found a way. They said, hey, we got to get this thing done. We got to find a way to get this. We had a good season, and boy, did they turn that thing. I thought that game would be a 7-point game.
Oh,
or
I
less.
thought it'd go overtime
But,
maybe.
yeah, but when St. Paul did that, I'm picking St. Paul big time, and I think they might win again and by the same score.
And you realize if Centennial wins and St. Paul wins, Centennial played St. Paul, and St. Paul should have won that game.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
another scary.
And you know what? The game's going to be in St. Paul because St. Paul's the 9 seed.
That's
They
right.
could beat the home team. Man, I hope they win that game. I hope they get to play them again. Can you imagine the excitement in St. Paul? 'Cause I'll tell you what, their volleyball team's pretty good.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, right now, the excitement in St. Paul, Nebraska, with their football and their volleyball teams, right now going back, can you imagine what that school's like? I'd like to teach there right now, be the principal. I'd like to be the AD. Everything's going pretty good
This
right
guy's
now.
getting me
Yeah,
fired up.
yeah,
No wonder he's a great coach. Oh,
Yeah.
excuse me. We'll sit back down here. How about North Platte St. Patrick having to go all the way to Hardington Cedar Catholic? St. Pat's the 12 seed, Cedar Catholic the 5 seed. Can St. Pat's go up there and beat somebody from the Magic Circle?
They could, but that's a long trip, and just because of the trip, I feel bad for the bus driver. That guy's gotta stay awake, he's gonna drive, the game's only 2 hours, he's gonna turn around, he's gonna drive back. Man, I'll tell you what, he better have a booster shake. I'm gonna go right now, I'm gonna go against North Platte St. Pat's, just because of the road trip.
Yeah, I think so too. Hardington Cedar Catholic, and as
Tougher
you mentioned
schedule,
up there,
maybe.
that circle of really good football history up there, and I think Hardington Cedar Catholic wins.
Here's a matchup that Wilbur Claytonia probably didn't want. Stanton, number 13 against number 4, Wilbur Claytonia. Stanton, all they did was beat Battle Creek last week.
Yeah, and
That's a tough matchup, but Wilbur, oh man, what a line.
What's really weird about Wilbur, you can't tell. I do know this. I know 1 year Sargent, I knew how good they were, and they were the 4th seed. But I knew how good they were, and they won state.
Yep.
But they just played a weak schedule, and they were beating people 62-6, and the coach was very generous.
Yeah.
Wilbur Claytonia might be what
Yeah, I
they
agree with
did
that.
this year. Wilbur Claytonia, because they got second last year in the state. I have to pick Wilbur Claytonia.
Well, yeah, and C1.
Yeah.
That was C1, yeah.
But I do agree with you. You made a great comment here. We've got too many games this first round in all classes where you're going, whoa, I don't want to play that team. I don't want to play this team. Well, they're all pretty good when you only take 16.
I know.
When the old format, when you took 32, you'd have some mismatches in C1 and C2.
Well, they have-
we don't have near as many mismatches, and that's why C1 and C2 voted to have 16 in
Right,
the playoffs. Because you won't have an easy matchup. But therefore, when you were taking 2 and 6 teams, and that's what's going on in 8,
Yeah,
we'll talk
right,
about that
right,
later.
right.
There's a lot of 2 and 6 teams that are in the playoffs, and you're going 2 and 6 against 8-0. Who are you going to take? Well,
Right.
I think I'll go 8-0. You know what I mean? Here we're talking about 6 and 3 teams taking on 9-0 teams
Right.
where they could get them.
And it's hard to find a good matchup, speaking of 8-man, to go to the first round, because a lot of them will get out of hand.
Yes.
So we go to the bottom side of the bracket, a banged up number 14, 6-3 Sutton team visits the Battle Creek team, who's gonna be not very happy after losing that game to Stanton. Now, I'm gonna go with Battle Creek right now, because they've been awful good, and they're from the Magic Circle anyway. What about you? I know- go ahead, Theo.
Sutton's banged up.
Yeah.
They've lost, a quarterback and a running back?
Yep.
And so I think their coaching staff's done a great job to, persevere and get through the season like they did, but I think Battle Creek's gonna be too tough for them.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to go that direction too. I wanted to pick Sutton. I'm just not going to. I like their coaching staff. I've known what they've done. That year in and year out, they do a great job. The thing of it is with Sutton is I like what they do. They believe in their system. But when you do get the ball to one guy, a
Oh,
lot,
my goodness.
if you have 2 guys carry the ball a lot, they might get banged up.
Yeah, they
You
could.
know what I mean? When you carry the ball like that, you might get banged up. And football's kind of a weird game anyway that we play. When you go to a football game, you look in the end zone and behind it, what do you got? You got an ambulance.
Yeah.
And you don't have those in a lot of other sports, but there's an ambulance out there in football. So you're letting you know that, hey, there's potentially somebody might get hurt here, right? So,
Yeah, and you don't have a stable of running backs like Oklahoma or something like
That's
that
exactly
behind your-
right.
Your stud. So then the next game, right down south here at number 12, or number 11, I should say, Donovan Trumbull goes up to state runner-up from last year, Oakland Craig. That's another matchup that I'm going to go with Oakland Craig on that one, although Donovan Trumbull's done a terrific job, and Little transfer running back didn't hurt things either, did it? Mark Zexer, you know?
No, you know, when Donovan Trumbull
Good
played
quarterback.
Sutton pretty good early when Sutton was healthy.
Right.
And, you know, Donovan Trumbull, they showed a little vulnerability when they beat Gibbon by a point.
Yeah, that one woke me
You
up
know,
a little
and
bit.
when that happens, it's tough for me to take him. I like their program. I think they've got good athletes, but just because of it, I think Oakland Craig, that one game alone makes me pick Oakland Craig.
Right. Well, I agree, and I think Oakland Craig has a little bit of an advantage in this game.
What about Central City? Here we are at Central City. We're not actually at Central City, we're right here, but they're a number 10 seed. Now they've got to go up and meet a Crofton team who has just been playing unbelievable. And they're going to run the ball and run the ball and run the ball and run the ball at you. So Central City, I know Jordan, I think Mr. Pop is banged up a little bit. They're a Division I prospect. I don't know what to think. I'm going to go with Crofton because that's a bad thing to have to turn around after that St. Paul game and go up to way up to Crofton. And it's a long ways up there.
I'm going to go with Central City in this
Good
game.
for you,
And the reason I'm
man.
taking Central City is I looked at some of the games they played earlier this year. They'd beaten some people pretty good. And I'm going to say that St. Paul game got away from them. And I'm going to say that Central City, a 10 seed, is going to go on the road. And they're going to say, hey, look, we know how to play football in the central part of the area. And this might be the game that says, hey, you know, our schedule has got us ready for this game. And I think, you know, you get a bad taste in your mouth. What do you think the practice was like? They all felt bad about getting beat 35-0. I think they woke up and said, man, I didn't think that was going to happen to us. Let's prove to everybody we can play football. And if they can get this game close in the second quarter, I think Central City will take off. And they can throw the ball.
Yeah,
And the weather's supposed to be good.
Yeah, I think their passing game, I think Will Wagner's the coach.
What a
carry back there.
great job he's done.
He can really throw the ball. I saw him in person last year. He's
He
quite a
is.
weapon, but I like Central City in this one.
Good for you guys. I hope that, you know, Crofton, yeah, well, there's not much mystery what they're going to do. And then at the bottom of the bracket, number 15, Cross County, who's just rose up from 8-man to 11-man, has done a terrific job. They go up to Valentine, who drops down from C1. Valentine's they haven't lost in the state. They go up to Winter, South Dakota, and that's a tremendous football team. Nobody even scores on them. Anybody going to pick Cross County in this one?
Nope, I'm taking Valentine.
I'll go with Valentine too, but congratulations on, you know, Ty Twirling and that bunch going from 8-man to 11-man,
Yeah,
which
that's
you
great.
don't see very often, so.
This isn't an automatic win.
Oh, no.
Valentine is not that dangerous.
No.
I mean, I'd be going, whoo, this is a good draw. I'd rather go to Valentine than a lot of other schools, yeah.
So this C2 looks good too. So C1 and C2 by far, to me, look like the best classes for entertainment. And of course, they play a lot more for entertainment. So thanks, guys. Jimmy, Tino will be back to go over the 8-man All-Star game. I'm thinking summer. 8-man classes, D1 and D2. Right after these messages from Cornhusker Toyota, Bobby Mills here for the Independent.com.